Hi, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Gamut Network. I am very excited about this episode because we are in for a major treat with Rachel Handler on the show today. Hi, Rachel.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Oh my God, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so excited for our audience to get to know you. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey and who you are?
I was doing a lot of musicals after I graduated college, and then when I turned 24, I was living in New York City, and I was on my way to an audition, and I was in a minor fender bender. And then when I got out of my car, I was talking to the other driver and letting her use my phone, and another car spun out of control and hit us. So I lost my leg on impact, and it was a tough age because, I just graduated. I was getting used, and losing my leg really kind of threw me for a loop. It was like, how am I gonna get back on track? Can I even still perform anymore? Like, what is my life going to look like? Because at that point, I didn't even know what a prosthetic leg looked like.
Right.
I was like in the hospital wondering, like, who else is an amputee? Am I the only one out there? Because, this was back in 2012, and I didn't see a lot of disability representation back then. I mean, luckily it's getting more and more, but there's still a ways to go. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
So you were 24, about, really on your way to your career, and suddenly life changed like that. Can you show us, is it above the knee or below the knee, your prosthetic?
Oh, it's below the knee. Yeah.
Do you have it on now?
I have on. I don't have it on now. I just had surgery actually on my leg 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And I'm actually still wearing my pajamas, so you can see my pajama bottom.
I think that's quarantine wear, apparently.
Right?
That's chic.
Quarantine chic.
I prefer to be leopard, but
yeah,
that's, but yours are leopard too.
they are. Well, they're hearts, but they're like leopard print hearts.
Oh,
yeah.
And what did you have surgery for?
Yeah, so after I lost my leg 8 years ago, I had a few revision surgeries. This surgery was due to some infected sutures and then an additional infection in my leg. So I actually knew something was going on 6 months ago when I did Runway of Dreams, the fashion show in New York City. I had been dealing with some problems with my leg for a while at that point, and then like 2 days before that fashion show, I had a small open wound open up, and that wound was healing and then reopening again for the past 6 months. So I finally, just 2 weeks ago, had surgery, and it looks, it's going to be a few more weeks until I can start wearing my prosthetic leg again, but I think, there was no other way to get better. Basically, my body couldn't heal on its own. So surgery was definitely the way to go, and I'm glad I did it. But it is a weird time to be recovering from leg surgery right now. I keep having follow-up appointments with my doctors and my surgeons, but we've started doing video calls because everything looks good with my leg right now. So I don't want to risk, getting into an Uber and going to the doctor at this point. So yeah.
And that's a really important part. The two things I want to talk about. Number one is, when you have an accident during your life, and let's say you lose a limb, it's not as simple as a prosthetic and off you go on your merry way. There's other steps and things that you have to deal with as a lifetime, I would imagine, path. And that's certainly something that I've learned in getting to know this community, that it's not like everything is fixed and off you go. There's other things like this surgery that you have to deal with during your life. But second to that, what I really want to hone in on is how would you say, obviously you're 24, you're young, you have your life ahead of you. Was there an experience or a moment that helped get you back on your path? Because I think a lot of our population struggles with that part. You know, in our situation with Oliver being born with his disability, in some ways that's a little bit easier because he knows no other way of life. You fall into a different category. Can you enlighten us a little on that?
Right. Yeah, that's such a great question. It's so thought provoking for me, even. I think I never gave myself another choice in what I wanted to do with my life. After my accident, I was wondering how I could still be a performer and be a singer and be an actor, but I never thought that I couldn't do it.
Wow.
So I remember one night in rehab when I was starting to walk with crutches again after getting out of the hospital. I was in the hospital for about a month after the accident, and it was devastating because I was getting phone calls like for callbacks or for auditions for different theaters. And I was like, life is very different right now. So I remember being in rehab and my little brother found this piano in the big main room, and he was like, Rachel, come to the piano and play us a song. And so I started singing and playing I Could Have Danced All Night from My Fair Lady, which was a little ironic at the time, but I've always loved that song and I've always wanted to play that role. So I had a blast just like feeling myself again and letting my voice out again. You know, after so many surgeries, you tend to lose your voice, but it felt really good to find it again, both physically and mentally. So that was a great standout moment for me. And that was just, you know, like a month and a half after my accident that I was really ready to get moving again and reaching out to other amputees and people with disabilities in the performing arts world.
That is fantastic. And I think that has become a bit of a theme on the show. Is not only is connection incredibly important in the population, but really digging into remember who you are. And whether you have 2 arms, 2 legs, or in a wheelchair, or have other types of diseases, to your core, you are who you are. And I love the lead in because I think it'd be great for our audience to hear a little bit. I could have danced all night, if I may put in a request.
Oh, sure. Yes, I do love that song. Let's see. I can just sing that a cappella for you today, if that's okay.
Wherever the wind blows you.
Okay. Let's see if my keyboard, there we go. I could have danced all night, I could have danced all night, and still have begged for more. I could have spread my wings and done 1,000 things I've never done before. I'll never know what made it so exciting. Why all at once my heart took flight. I only know when he began to dance with me, I could have danced all night.
Oh my God! Holy
Thank you.
That is so spectacular. Wow.
Thank you.
I mean, you need that role. You have got to have that role. You are.
It is such a dream.
Unbelievable. So on that note, no pun intended, how can people reach out to you? If somebody has questions or wants to get involved in musical theater or acting, I think you're a great example that nothing can stop you.
Oh, thank you so much. I love staying social during this time. I have a YouTube channel where I've started making vlogs about my recovery from surgery and now also about the pandemic. And I wrote new lyrics to a song from Wicked all about the pandemic because I have a dream of also playing Nessa Rose in Wicked on Broadway because she's, you know, a disabled character, and I would love to be the first woman with a disability to play that role.
Let's make that happen. Maybe can you just do a little bit from the song that you wrote?
Sure. Okay, so this is my little spoof of the song with my own lyrics. Stay home, please, just stay home. You can host that meeting on Zoom. COVID-19's here, don't infect the multitudes. Social distancing for days. Can't even think of any more ways to pass the time without losing my gosh darn mind. I'll binge one more series.
Oh my God, I love it. It's so good. That's amazing.
I had some fun with that one. Yeah.
So what is your YouTube channel? What is your Instagram? Let's make sure people can connect with you.
Sure. So my YouTube is just my name. It's Rachel Handler. And my Instagram is bionic.brunette. So you can find me on there. Yeah.
And that's with 2 T's, brunette, 2 T's.
Yes, 2 T's in brunette. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think I'll pop up too if you just type in Rachel Handler. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We need to make this happen. I can't wait to watch you. I want to be there opening night when you're on Broadway.
Yes.
But before we go, I'd like to ask my guests the same question because I think it's really important, especially with what's happening in our world. I am a big believer in vision boards. I have one that I keep next to me at all times when I'm working. If you had a vision board, and you may, but if you have a vision board, who or what would be on it?
Ooh, that's a good one. I would say with my vision board, I would have like pictures of my family on it because I always want to stay close to them. They've always been my rock and they remind me like who I am, especially when this industry gets so crazy. I have my family to always fall back on. So I want to make sure I'm giving them as much as they're giving me. So family, and I'm starting to write a sitcom, so I would definitely have that on my vision board. I'm writing it with my.
Let's have an Emmy on there also with your sitcom. Let's go for the stars. Let's have you win an Emmy for it.
Flames, and we also have a lot of disability specific storylines about accessibility in New York. So definitely that sitcom for sure. Yeah, I think family and that writing and Nessa Rose on Wicked, that's a big goal of mine. So yeah, those are the big ones.
I can't wait to see it all happen. Rachel, thank you so much for joining us today. It was so nice. Thank you for sharing your beautiful voice. I think it's going to uplift everybody that's watching this episode. And if you would like to be on the Gamut Network, please email us at talent@gamutmanagement.com and tell us why you think you would be a great guest. Thanks so much.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.